This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. We said this was coming, but it may be worse than we thought. Volkswagen is going to close at least 3 plants in Germany, shrink its manufacturing base in Europe, and lay off tens of thousands of workers. Original reports said the company would close 2 plants in Germany, but VW is desperate to cut costs as its profit margin shrinks and sales slow. And Volkswagen isn't the only German automaker in trouble. Mercedes-Benz reported its third quarter earnings, and they were a disaster. Sales dropped 3.4% to just under 600,000 units. But revenue dropped 7%, its EBIT fell 48%, and its net profit plummeted 54%. Mercedes CFO Harald Wilhelm promises the company will step up its efforts to cut costs. And the numbers don't look good at Porsche either. It sold 226,000 cars for the first 3 quarters of the year, down 7%. Revenue fell 5%, operating profits dropped 26%, and its net profit fell almost 30%. Porsche says it's going to start closing dealerships in China because it lost so many sales there. It also says that it's still solidly profitable and that it will hold on to its profit guidance for the year as long as market conditions don't get any worse. Renault is giving employees free shares and hopes that one day they'll hold a 10% stake in the company. Over 93,000 eligible workers in 30 countries were given 7 free shares, as well as the opportunity to buy more at a 30% discount. And nearly 46,000 bought more, which amounted to 31.1 million euros. It's actually the 3rd time that Renault has done this, and employees now hold a nearly 6% share in the company. Stellantis also offers a similar program to some of its workforce.
Developing today's vehicles. Issues can happen in an instant. When's the best time to solve a problem? The minute you know you have one. Meet Wireless Neovi Cloud, your secure, off-the-shelf solution empowering real-time collaboration for quick resolution. With Wireless Neovi Cloud, your team can prevent issues before they can escalate. Driver communication data and remote diagnostics to analyze and resolve your problems using OTA, allowing your executives oversight throughout the process. Wireless Neovi Cloud, your vehicle update solution in production and on the road. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data.
Waymo disclosed that it raised $5.6 billion in its latest funding round. Not surprisingly, most of it comes from parent company Alphabet, which invested $5 billion of that figure, while the other $600 million came from outside firms. Waymo operates about 650 robotaxis in Phoenix and San Francisco and now averages 100,000 paid rides a week. It plans to expand into Austin, Texas and Los Angeles early next year, followed by Atlanta, Georgia later in the year. The U.S. continues to strengthen its domestic supply chain for EV batteries. The Department of Energy awarded Anthro Energy, a battery materials company, with a nearly $25 million grant to produce electrolyte for lithium-ion batteries. Electrolyte is the material that helps transfer ions between the electrodes inside of a battery. Anthro Energy will use the money to convert an existing plant in Louisville, Kentucky, to produce 12,000 metric tons of electrolyte a year, making it the first large-scale facility in the U.S. Back in April, John got a chance to talk to Jun-Woo Park, the VP of the N brand, all about the evolution of Hyundai's performance EVs. We learned it all started with the Rolling Lab, which is what the company calls its test vehicles. These are real driving cars that are meant to bridge the gap between motorsport technology and production end models, and now it's showing off the newest generation, the RN24. Basically, it takes the roughly 640 horsepower dual motor setup from the Ioniq 5N and stuffs it into a smaller B-segment size platform with rally spec dampers and an exposed roll cage. It even has the same 84 kilowatt hours of batteries, but the pack has been redesigned to fit it into the shorter wheelbase. While these rolling labs have never made it into production, elements have, and you get a better idea of the path that Hyundai is thinking of taking. One element that has seemed to prove pretty popular is the 5N's active sound system, which simulates vehicle noises based on the driver's input. John said it's kind of pointless for everyday driving, but it provided good feedback when you're really pushing the car. And now Hyundai wants people outside of the car to have a similar experience. The RN24 has 2 additional side speakers on the outside, and the rear fender design is meant to act as a sound box, projecting the noises out even further. Speaking of Hyundai, Hyundai Rotem, which is part of the group and makes military and industrial equipment, just introduced a hydrogen-powered tank. It's a modified version of its K2 tank, but Hyundai says it's quieter and has better acceleration. And thanks to its hydrogen fuel cells and battery pack, it has a low heat signature, protecting it from heat-seeking weapons. In addition to that, the tank features autonomous driving and a remote drone for reconnaissance. Hyundai is developing it with Korea's Defense Department and is aiming to launch the tank in 2040. That brings us to the end of today's show. Thanks for making Autoline a part of your day.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering boost your game. Teijin Automotive Technologies, the formula for better mobility. And by ZF.
Knowing that a little rain won't slow down your day, that's what really matters. Bridgestone Turanza Quiet Track tires. Confident control in wet conditions.
There's nothing wrong with heavy metal.
Hey, lighten up.
But with world-class composite material, Teijin Automotive Technologies makes vehicles lighter, safer, and more eco-friendly.